Well, there are reasons. Gotcha. Mike, you're muted.
That was so cool.
Go to
Oh, haha, sharp. Suck on it. Take two. Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. Tonight, we have Garrett from Speer. No, not that type of Speer. Speer, the projectile company. So, um, just want to introduce the panel. We've got Jim, Nick, Ray, Travis's Buckeye Targets, Paul, Sharonda, and myself. So,
Well, it's great to virtually meet all of you guys.
indeed. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
So, basically, wanted to kind of start off with Speer's company history.
Yeah, sure. So Speer bullets, independent from kind of the other brands that we have under the Vista Outdoor conglomerate, was founded by Vernon Speer, early 1940s. Kind of just a hobby hand loader that just had a vision, kind of a entrepreneurial spirit, I guess you could say. Um, During World War II, a lot of the metal, including gilding metal, it's commonly used for jacketed rifle bullets, was unavailable. So he developed a system to he built his first bullets out of rimfire cases. So he would go around the ranges, salvage once fired 22 long rifle rimfire cases, and then iron the head out of them and form them into jackets. So that's kind of how it got started. 1944, he decided to move west and made his way here to Lewiston, Idaho, and that's where we're still at today. Set up a bolt making operation in the basement of an old grocery store. Had a couple fairly profitable years and purchased the property that the Speer actual bullet manufacturing location is still on now today, and built the facility. And ever since then, it's been, I guess, 60 years now almost. We've developed some pretty innovative products unique to the industry. And here we are. So I don't know if that's enough background for you, or.
Oh, yeah. So, how about your personal? Do you reload personally? And if so, how long you've been in and that type of thing?
Yeah. So personal reloading, been doing it for about 10 years, both career-wise, obviously, and also just kind of as a hobby, and also a little bit for competitive shooting in the last 5-6 years. I typically have a dozen or so cartridges I'm actively reloading for, hand loading for at a time. So fairly extensive, I would like to say. There's probably a lot of guys out there that have a lot more experience than me. I'm probably looking at a few on the screen. So
Awesome. So, what got you personally into reloading?
Well, so being growing up, I don't know where everybody here on the panel lives, or if, how many of you are hunters or not. I'm a big hunter. And I being out west, here in this bigger country, I just felt like the lowest hanging fruit for me to become a more successful hunter was to be able to shoot further consistently. And so, a few friends were into reloading, and they were starting to shoot, animals at extended ranges and things like that. And that just kind of piqued my interest. And then after that, everybody knows it's kind of a huge a huge black hole. It sucks you in, and then you're addicted, and then you got to reload for everything. So that's what got me started. And then after that, I started getting a little bit more into target shooting, a little more competitive shooting. You guys were talking about F-class earlier. I lived in Arizona for a while, shot some F-class down there, shoot a little PRS up here. So it's kind of a little bit of snowball effect.
Okay. So tell us about what all product lines Speer has. I mean, some people may know the name Gold Dot, and that may be the only thing they know about Speer.
Yes. Yep. Gold Dot. We got some TNTs here. He's holding up. Yeah. So Gold Dot is one of the most popular lines because it's everywhere, like in self-defense ammo and things like handgun ammo and things like that. And we actually do have Gold Dot rifle bullets, and we can talk a little more about that. Hot Core and Grand Slam are two more pretty popular product lines that we manufacture here at Speer. And those are pretty unique as they're a jacketed bullet, but they are not solid core bullets. So they're formed with molten lead. So that's pretty unique for us. The TNT line, like he was just holding up a box, pretty phenomenal bullets. They consistently put up very good dispersion numbers, very explosive for varmint hunting. We've got a TNT green line now that we're starting. And we can, like I said, we can hit a little more on each of these if we need to. BTSPs, the SPs and the BTSPs, so just standard cold core soft points and bowtail soft points, have a line of each of those. And then we're also right now in the process of releasing the first few SKUs of a product line called Impact, which is one that people are not very familiar with yet. We're hoping to change that. And the Impact is it's a bonded projectile just like a Gold Dot, but it's tipped. So it's got a little bit more improved aerodynamic characteristics, and it's got a plastic tip. So that's going to be marketed as a all-around / long-range hunting bullet. And I think that pretty well wraps up most of our product lines.
Okay. If you want to talk about any more in depth and detail, go ahead.
Sure. I think Impact definitely we'd like to talk about a little bit. So, a lot of people are familiar with, like I said, Gold Dot and Fusion, and how those are built and bonded. So they're non-jacketed at all. They're the copper core insulation is actually plated on one molecule at a time. So it's a really good bonding technique. We see really good weight penetration and weight retention characteristics from these bullets. And it's basically they're extremely tough in solid media. So what we did with Impact is we improved the noses of those bullets, or that type of bullet, improved the boat tail a little bit for, like I said, for some increased exterior characteristics, and then we've got a plastic tip on it now. So that also aids. It's a little larger frontal nose exposed when it impacts animals. So we're pretty excited about that line. We've got some more. We've only got 3 products released right now, and we're hoping to have some more come out in the near future. I think Grand Slam and Hot Core are a couple more that probably deserve some more in-depth conversation. And you guys can stop me at any point if you have any questions or anything like that. But like I said before, those are pretty unique. They're built with a traditional jacket, but instead of a cold core, they're built with melted lead. So take a jacket, we actually pour melted lead into it in the manufacturing process, and then it gets formed up. The nose of the bullet gets formed up, and that also creates it's not a true bonding process, but it also creates a pretty good cohesion between the core and the jacket, and those perform. They have a pretty good following actually for short and mid range hunting applications. And then TNTs, like we talked about just a second ago. I think Travis, right, had a box of them held up. A lot of you guys might be familiar with those. Like I said, pretty explosive performance, as the name kind of alludes to. TNT, those are great varmint bullets, and like I said, they shoot pretty well, pretty routinely as well.
Garrett, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my question is about gold dot bullets. Are they available for handling for pistol ammo? And there's a question from the gallery about Speer rifle gold dot bullets. Is there such a thing?
There is, yep. We don't have a lot of gold dot SKUs. Most of them are tailored towards cartridges that are used heavily in like tactical contract opportunities. So we have some 277 lighter weight gold dots for like 6.8 SPC. We have heavier 224 diameter gold dots, 75 and 62 grain, and then 264 diameter gold dots, also a 120 and a 140 grain. And those are sold in component boxes, so those are available for hand loading. Of course, everything's is tough to find right now. People are clearing the shelves pretty good. And yes, also pistol gold dot bullets are available for hand loading as well, if you can get your hands on some.
Thank you, sir. Back to you, Mike.
So, when you guys are looking at creating a new projectile, what kind of what's the process like?
So that's a good question. Typically, in research and development, in engineering, our direct demand comes from sales and marketing. So sales and marketing determines there is a need for a product. They determine the specifications that product needs to meet. And then that's kind of where we take over. So they say we need a 264 diameter bullet that has this BC or better, that performs in this cartridge or at this velocity, etc. That's where we kind of sit down and determine with what process we want to build that bullet, what we think it would be a good fit for, and then based on the cartridge is going to be used in, or if it's going to be a component bullet or a factory loaded bullet, what the nose design of that bullet is going to look like, what its intended range is going to be, whether it's we want to put some type of bow tail on it or things like that. That's kind of how the process goes until we get to a position where we have a design that we want to move forward on, and then we start making samples and testing.
And what are you making the samples out of typically? Are they still going to be metallic, or have you guys started with maybe your initial samples like a 3D printed?
No, not at this point. No, we have a pretty large facility here in Lewiston, and we have quite a bit of engineering capability. So yeah, we'll pretty much always go straight to, or as close to, as the real thing as we can get. So
Okay. So I'm guessing, is there another line coming sometime in the near future, or is it pretty much just filling out what you have with more offerings?
It's a little bit of both. The impact line is brand new. We're the first ones have just recently rolled out the door. So that's a pretty new line for us. We're still working to try to get a lot of those out into the market. And then yes, also trying to fill that line out a little more. We've got a 7mm impact in the works. We've got a 277 impact in the works, and then we also are looking at a couple other possible lines as well that we're still in the kind of idea stages, and so those aren't ready to be talked about yet, I guess.
Understandable. Yeah, you always got to have stuff that you got to keep for surprise for later. So
yeah.
One of the listeners in the chat wanted to know, how close are you involved in the reloading manual publishing? And with the expanded line, what are the equivalents when loading powder?
That's a good question. I was a little bit involved in the last manual that was released 15. At this point, I don't know if there is another a version 16 planned or not. So that portion I don't have a great answer for. As far as equivalents, like with new products, I'm assuming they're maybe talking impact or something like that. With impact, I would use like trophy bonded, or I think in 14, 15 we still have like trophy bonded bear claw and bullets like that in there. That's what I would try to use the data for like an impact bullet.
And then Knox Spector wants to know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask Garrett on this impact line. Can you talk a little bit about what exactly is molecularly bonded jacket?
Well, I can't. So the plating, it's a plating process. It's pretty proprietary for us, just because that's how we build the impacts, gold dots, and some of our other OEM products. But basically, we form a lead core through, we have our own lead extruders here at Speer. So we heat and extrude and roll our own lead wire. That goes into like a header type machine, if anyone's familiar with those, where it cuts a lead slug and then forms that core into a die, and then it goes into our plating facilities, where a combination of copper and chemicals basically plates that copper onto the core to a certain thickness that, each product, depending on what impact velocity it's designed to, or velocity range it's designed to perform at, gets a certain thickness of plating. And then we take that plated core and we form that into a bullet. So that's kind of the best way I can explain how those bullets are bonded. But it's far superior. It's a far superior bonding technique, in my opinion, to anything that's built with a jacket, if that makes sense.
So is it kind of keep the jacket intact more than a traditional jacket would?
Absolutely. The plated copper is far more ductile than a jacket. When we make a jacket, because we do make jacketed bullets, you're cutting out a ring, or not a ring, but a coin of copper, and then you form that into a cup, and then that goes through a progression of cold drawing, processes, where a punch is going down to the die and not extruding, but drawing that jacket out. And so a fair amount of stress goes into all the cold work that it takes to make those jackets. And so that thin copper is fairly brittle to a certain degree. And that's one advantage of the plated copper, is it holds up quite a bit better, especially high impact velocities. We do a lot of gel testing here with those bullets, and they're extremely tough with that plating on there.
So it seems like it's kind of a high tech, essentially like almost like powder coating, but with different material and kind
Yeah,
of,
that's
I guess that would be the kind of the way to explain it to the general population is it essentially you're doing a more advanced process, but it's kind of like powder coating where when you're done with powder coating, the powder coating is actually kind of bonded to the lead
yep.
core, but not to the extent of what you guys are making. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's a great analogy. If you think about this as powder coating, then you could think about a jacketed bullet as spray painted, I guess.
so Jim, I guess
So,
Alox loses again.
so you're forming the bullet after you've plated the slug.
That's correct.
Okay. So it's not like you're taking a formed bullet already and powder coating it or doing it. You're taking actually putting the slug through the different dyes in order to bring it to the specifications.
Yep.
Now
From what I know about bullet making, it also would seem like your plating process would be a boon for economical reasons.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch all of that question.
It would just seems like it's a great economic decision to make bullets with the molecular plating.
Yep. Yeah. They're. It is. You're correct.
the harder part is putting the plastic tip on, because most people fold the plastic. Most bullet manufacturers fold the plastic tip into the jacket, whereas you have to do it a different way, which is probably your priority.
Right.
So I have a buddy who helped design a machine for another company that actually put that little tip into the projectiles. That machine is so freaking expensive just to be able to put that little polymer tip into those projectiles. It's actually ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Now, Garrett, if I go back into the 80s, your larger 375 and such caliber Grand Slam bullets were probably the talk of the town as far as big game hunting. Have they kept up with what the new the new processes and everything else?
Well, as far as processes, I think the process is plenty sound. I think the biggest separation between Grand Slams and a lot of the newer projectiles that are out there would be the how advanced the new projectiles are in terms of exterior ballistic characteristics. So everything out there, everybody out there is trying to put the highest BC number on the box, right? So back, when you're referring to in the 80s, when the optics weren't I'm trying, not the quality, but the optical ability, I guess, that was available to all of the consumers market wide, and where when rangefinders and ballistic solvers weren't a thing, people didn't shoot as far. Period. Right? I don't think anybody here would argue that. So in an era where BC didn't matter as much, the Grand Slams they were phenomenal, and they still do perform phenomenally from a terminal aspect in their intended velocity window. The problem being that being such a low BC, they're going to lose velocity a lot faster than a newer, higher performance design. But they're still a great bullet, in my opinion.
a lot of hunters that I knew that were going to Africa used your Grand Slams, and they were, they limited their ranges to 300 yards and in.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Sub 300 yards. A Grand Slam is a phenomenal bullet. Terminally.
Right.
So we had a question from the audience. Would the process you use, the newer process for plating, would that make a more consistent bullet, more of a match quality compared to a traditional jacket?
That's a tough question. We are able to make really consistent bullets with this process. It is sometimes more difficult to control, like core concentricity, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because these are being batch plated. So that's one advantage that a jacketed bullet has, is you can, when you're drawing that jacket out, you can make that wall thickness extremely consistent, right? Because the rotation of a bullet is just like you have weights that balance the wheel on your car, right? You get new tires, they get mounted and balanced. Because the bullet's spin stabilized, if it's heavier on one side than it is on the other, then that's going to create more dispersion. It's going to want to tend to fly one direction. So I would like to say that I think wholeheartedly it always creates a more consistent bullet, but there's just some advantages the jacketed bullets have that you can't overcome with something like that. So if that answers the question.
I would say that covers it pretty good. We have a request for a new product, 41 caliber JSP in 210 grain.
41, 210, jacket south point. Okay, wrote it down.
So, and then, what is the physical characteristic difference between a Grand Slammed and a hot core? Chemical bonding, thicker jacket.
So the main difference is that the Grand Slam is built with some interior, it's proprietary interior jacket geometry that allows for a more consistent expansion.
Okay.
So they're built with the same process. Grand Slam has a different jacket.
Okay. What's your personal favorite projectile to use for hunting?
So after going through some of this impact development, it's 100% Speer impact.
Okay.
I've personally, so this being the first year they're available for hunting season, I haven't had a chance to harvest anything with them yet. I did help a friend pack out a moose here in Idaho week before last that he harvested with one of the 30 cal 190 impacts. Phenomenal results. Shot this moose at 40 yards, bullet held together, and it was almost a complete broadside pass through at 40 yards in a moose. So it was in the offside shoulder. So, and I've also shot these bullets personally into gel out to 1,000 yards, 100, 300, 500, 750, 1,000. They expanded all ranges. The weight retained is commonly over 90% of the bullet's original weight. So I'm really high on these impacts, and I think, and that's one thing I'd like to get out there for everyone.
What cartridge was that you were shooting that out of?
In the gel out to 1,000?
No, for the moose.
For the moose, that was a 300 short mag.
Okay.
Yep.
What are the current options for the impact? What's out there right now?
Right now, what's released, we have a 264 140. We have a 30 cal 172 and a 30 cal 190.
Okay.
So 264 140 kind of being targeted towards like 6.5 Creedmoor 260 Remington, 6.5 PRC, anything in that range.
Can you use it in the Swede?
I don't see why you couldn't. The nose may be a little long to function in a like a PMAG or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
Super tough bullet. Like I said before, I've personally shot these 140 impacts into gel at 10 feet, max charge out of a 6.5 PRC, and they did not come apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you kind of the follow-up question for that? Do you have any of the gel footage available for the public, or is that kind of all in-house?
At this point, all I know of is that it's internal.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. It may be out on the Speer site. I don't know that for a fact, but all of the stuff that I've been involved with has been for internal use. But going back to those products, the 30 cal 172 kind of being targeted towards 308, 30-06 cartridges, with that type of capacity, and then a 190 for Win Mag, Short Mag, those types of cartridges. So.
Okay.
Garrett, do you believe that Idaho is probably the best state to live in?
Personally, yeah, I do. I've only lived in 2 states, but this one's my favorite.
What was the other one?
Arizona.
Yeah.
Good boy, Garrett.
Both Jason and I live in Idaho.
Oh,
Jason came from California, the Golden State, to live in Idaho.
He escaped.
where out in Idaho are you guys at?
I'm 4 hours south of you.
4 hours south. So
Payette.
yeah, okay. I was gonna say Horseshoe Bend.
And I'm 8 hours south of you. I'm down by Idaho Falls area.
Okay, yeah, yep.
So Garrett,
Enough there.
does Speer have tours? Can I come up at some point?
I don't have a good answer for that. I
Okay.
think I wish I had a better answer. Somebody with a larger title than me would have to answer that question.
So was there tours pre-COVID?
I don't know of any besides industry,
Right.
parts.
Exactly.
So
And are you going to be at SHOT Show?
I don't think I'm going to be at SHOT Show this year.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be at the Sheep Show in Reno.
Okay.
At this point, I don't think I'm going to be at SHOT.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta
More
ask, what's the
more-
sheep show?
It's basically similar to it's a trade show about sheep hunting, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, more tailored towards sheep.
More money in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I know I'm not going to ask who, but how many different OEMs do you make projectiles for? Rough guesstimate.
I don't honestly. I don't know all of them because like especially with some of the long time existing products that are well established, production, scheduling, and purchasing handles all of that, and so from a research and development standpoint, we don't see any of that. So I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay. I didn't know if you would or not, but I figured I'd check and see. So, anybody else have any last questions for Garrett before we cut him loose?
I don't know if we asked him, but what is when he goes to his reloading bench, what is he mostly reloading? And also, what is your favorite thing to reload?
Ooh, those are tough questions. I would say it kind of goes in spurts for the frequency of what I'm reloading. Depending on if I'm intentionally trying to develop load for a cartridge. Probably in the most recent amount of time, 6mm BR Norma would be one of the most frequent cartridges I've reloaded, and then probably 6.5 PRC. Just because I've been building a couple of those recently and been loading a lot for them. I guess maybe 6.5 Creedmoor. I shot a couple different matches this year with the 6.5 Creedmoor that were high round counts, so quite a bit of loading there. My favorite cartridge to load for? It's tough. They're all fun. I don't know. I have one 243 that I love dearly, just because it's so easy. It seems like it shoots everything and it uses almost every powder.
Yeah, I mean, asking them for a favorite cartridge is kind of like asking if you got a favorite kid.
Yeah, that's a tough one. 300 Win Mag, I'm a big Win Mag shooter. That's pretty hard to not include as well.
Now, what are you shooting the 6BR for with?
Mostly like sub 600 yard competition. So.
See, I'm putting together a switch barrel with a 22 BR and a 6 BR.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be. I've always thought the 22 BR would be a great little cartridge. It's almost 22 Creedmoor performance with 30% less powder.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good brass available, good bullets available, low recoil.
I'm a prairie dog shooter, so I look towards your TNT line and that. But the versatility in a lot of your bullets is nice. My M1A likes your 125 TNT bullets. So, yeah.
Yeah. There they are again.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite TNT then?
I like the 50 grain TNT for the 22s. Yeah.
That's my favorite too. Yeah, 50 grain TNT.
With the 70 grain 6mm coming in second.
Yeah, those are also second for me as well.
And when they're available, your 85s are very nice. But
I like the 90 grain TNT in my 6.8. That worked really well for me. The accuracy was awesome. I don't hunt much or whatnot. I target shoot a lot, but I just happened to be able to get those at one point and tried those, and they did really well for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the TNTs, the whole line of TNTs, like I said, consistently produce very good dispersion results.
So two last questions for you here, both from the listeners. Daniel Anderson wants to know, does it matter what bullet line I use in Curio and Relic rifle or pistols? So like a lot of it's Milsurp stuff, older, early 1900s type things.
I don't see any reason why the bullet line would matter, short of, depending on the cartridge feed system, I guess, or magazine or feed system, whether, the bullet nose is right for that cartridge. That would be maybe the only thing that I could see being an issue as far as feeding. Kind of back to what we talked about, like with the impact nose with your with your suite, right? Maybe being
Yeah.
too long for the feed system. But as far as like bullet construction, there should be no issues there.
All right. And then last one's from our favorite Canadian. With the advent of longer range 270 cartridges, 27 Nosler, 6.8 Western, is Speer in development of a heavier boat tail spire point for long range and maybe 160 grain hot core for larger game?
We are not in development of a spire point right now, but we are in development of a heavy for caliber 270 cal impact.
Nice.
So that would be a tipped projectile that would, like I said, be great terminal performance across a pretty wide velocity range. So
Okay. So that gives him something to look forward to.
sure.
His follow-up comment was he'd rather shoot with 160 grain hot core and 270 on an elk than pay for Nosler partitions. So,
Well, I'll write that one down as well.
all right, sounds good. So they can get information on the. Are you looking at entering the lead-free market, especially with states like California pushing?
We are across our facility here. We are entertaining or doing slight development on lead-free solutions. We don't have a huge push for lead-free hunting solutions at this point, but I think personally, my personal opinion that I think that is inevitable long term. I think most people would probably agree with that. What we have for centerfire rifle bullets right now that are lead free is a couple of TNT green products, so not really designed for big game hunting, but they are good bullets. So we already do have some lead free capability. So like I said, I think that's probably
Down
long
the road.
term. Yeah, down the road. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your time. Thank you for your willingness to share.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity, like I said, and it was good to make contact with all you guys, and you have my contact info now. So
yes, we do. So anything new pops up, give me a holler and we'll have you back on.
okay. Awesome.
So,
thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Garrett.
All right. We'll talk later.
Thanks, Garrett.
All right. All right. So what's everybody been up to? Jason?
Mike, I noticed today that you posted that you're selling your truck.
Yes.
If I was in the market for a truck, I would appreciate that. I was in the market for a equipment trailer, and I happened to find one on Facebook that was near Travis. Nice. And so I asked him about it, how far he was from it, and this and that. And he sold one that morning at he practically gave it away. I could have drove across the state, bought him lunch, and drove it back and still saved money. But you know how Travis is, so
he's impatient. He wants everything done now.
He hates me for some reason. I don't know why. He hung on to my Target for like a year or two or something. I don't know what it was. I still haven't shot that Target either.
He was on Iceland shipping. I just think it's funny. He finally shipped it to you like 2 months before he moved.
Yeah, I needed him to weigh him down.
Exactly. It cost me that 1/4 mile per gallon.
Speaking of big guns, I got
ready for winter.
I don't live too far from. Speaking of big guns, I don't live too far from Fort Bragg. The Marines are dumping their 155s tonight.
Yeah.
Right now, tonight. They're far enough away to be safe, but you know what, guys? They're shaking the house, and that's no lie.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And it's not an exaggeration. Kind of nice to know we have friends in the neighborhood, isn't it, Paul?
Yep.
We used to go watch gunnery practice when the A-10s were based here in Madison. We'd go up to McCoy and watch them do their bombing runs and their
Oh
lovely
yeah.
brr. I don't
Brr.
care how many times you watch it on video. It is nothing like hearing it in real life
That's
and knowing
right.
you're not on the receiving end of it.
Yep.
I miss the A-10s. They were awesome.
Yep.
But I guess we're getting F-35s now, so that's better than the stupid ass F-16s. So
I just look at them as you know, they're nice to have around, you know.
yes, they are. They're very nice to have around.
Yeah.
So, especially
Brr.
considering the ones here can be by you in about 30 minutes, Paul.
Well, a little farther than that, but yeah.
45. That's right. You moved. I forgot.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um,
But
Paul, what you been up to?
you know, I was trying to organize a few things, and I prepped. I had to go out and find a box and a case to ship off my one of my actions to go get rebarreled. The barrel finally came in for the 22-250, so
Nice.
it got all packed up with the Winchester, one of the Winchester actions, and it's off now to go get work done. So that's that. I'm waiting on. They say they got my 6mm barrel ready, but my next 22 barrel is not ready, so I have to wait for that one from Brooks to ship that one off to the gunsmith. So I'm hurry up and wait mode.
Yeah.
Paul Loud, we remember that. Yes, we know your favorite host would be Phil. Mm-hmm.
Travis, what you been up to?
So I've been just playing around with my 300 blackout. That's what I use these for.
Nice.
But I've been working up some
What grain weight was that?
125. So I shoot these. These are actually the most accurate ones I have, and then I shoot the Acura 120 grains.
Yeah.
But I got my can back, out of jail, I should say.
Yeah.
And so I've been working up, doing some casting and powder coating. So I needed some more of these little guys. There's some Lee 230 grain.
Whisper quiet.
Yeah, I've been able to get down to.
Ooh, shiny. Are
I
those
can't
zinc?
even. No,
They're just really shiny.
just really shy. It won't focus. I don't know why.
That's because there's the ugly thing in the background it's trying to focus on.
There you go.
Yay, look at those fancy grooves.
Yep. And then I ran out of 9mm projectiles. So I had to cast up some of these.
Oh, those are cute. What grain's
So,
that?
147.
Oh, okay.
Getting ready to finish up 3-gun season. So I ran out and I needed some more.
Yeah.
So
How did you do at 3-gun season?
I did okay. Don't do too bad.
He did better than me.
Yeah.
Have you gotten the cleaning rod out of the barrel yet?
Nope.
No.
It's not coming out. She's
Ship
done.
me the barrel. I'll take care of it.
What
I'll
did
ship
you do,
Ed-
Travis? What did you do?
Oh, you don't remember that where you
It's-
got the carbon fiber rod stuck in the barrel, and then it
Oh
splintered.
my god! Oh
Yeah, I don't know how to get a carbon fiber rod out of a barrel because you can't beat it out because it just splinters and then it opens up more as you're trying to pound it out with another rod. So yeah, it's done for. It's brand new barrel sitting out there on the garage workbench.
Ship it to me. I'll get it out for you.
I'll ship it to you, but I highly doubt you'll get it out. And if you do, I'll give you a big old kiss.
Oh,
No,
So
keep the
my.
damn thing to yourself. God, dog, man, that's not a bribe.
Is there a bulge in it?
In what?
The barrel.
No, it says brand new barrel.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I've seen them bulge. But you know,
No, like say it was stupid because what happened was I bought a couple of them and I looked down the one and it looked kind of, it had some, just didn't look clean. So I took a patch, started pushing it through, and it was going fine. It just kind of got a little bit harder, and I just kept going. And by the time I got to the other end, there was no patch, and it just wouldn't budge one way or the other. And then, long story short, handle came off the cleaning rod. Started splintering and breaking, and you have so much rod sticking out, and the more frustrated you get, the shorter and shorter it gets until there's flush with the barrel on both ends, and then you're in panic mode and there's no coming back from that.
Travis, you've got a question coming from Australia on the bottom of your screen.
So this one here, this is just a Lee 230 grain. I also have the NOE 153 grain. That's pretty good.
Nice.
I want to get NOE has, I think it looks almost exactly like the Lee, this 230 grain. I'm also kind of working with my buddy Larry at J&L Machining, and we're kind of working on our own bullet molds. So we got a couple things kind of we're working on for our own molds.
Nice. So, Sharenda, how'd the hunt go?
Well, depending on your perspective, my side, the hunt went great, even though I didn't harvest anything, but it's because nothing came in close enough. But I'm feeling really pleased with myself because I scouted a great spot, and I had 2 beefy does come 90 yards and didn't even notice me. So that was a win for me. I felt like everything I've learned the last couple of years just kind of clicked in. For those that don't know, I camped for 4 days and 3 nights in a national forest to hunt with my crossbow. So I didn't harvest, but that was a big deal for me. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nick and Ray, what are you looking at?
Huh?
What are you guys looking at? I'm watching you stare at the screen and I'm watching you point.
Different auctions and stuff like that.
Multitasking.
Oh, yeah. Multitasking. Now, when you went hunting, Sharon, did you see anything?
Yeah, there were a lot. So the area I was hunting also had 4-point limit. So lots of spikes. They wasn't looking 3 inches because 3 inches was legal. There were quite a few bucks, but the bucks were in areas that there were already hunters posted up in. Couple of areas we were hunting in, we had some pretty oblivious hikers. Like I had literally a couple almost step on me. They never even knew I was there. And I'm thinking, so this is what people mean. What the hell are y'all doing off the trail? I just sat there not moving. Like they totally oblivious. I saw lots of things. Somebody's farm cat almost caught it because, the city girl in me saw a cat and immediately went to bobcat. And it wasn't a bobcat. It was just a house cat, farm cat. It was.
Sharenda, you want to see a cat? I'll send you a photo. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
farm, when you're out
Just-
hunting and you see a cat,
Just
they
bring it up and
they
show it on
normally
the screen.
die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was making sure I was not doing anything to get in trouble at all this weekend. And I'm the citiest of city girls out there. So the whole time I was like, please pink baby Jesus in your manger. Don't let the serial killer be out here this weekend. That was me. That was me. Yes.
Shit, he'd been scared of you, girl.
Look, black women have stereotypes too. And look, Michael Myers and Crystal Lake have ruined my generation. So we think all things Campton Woods have serial killers. Sorry.
You had weapons with you. The serial killer ain't gonna bother you.
But I had to sleep.
Yeah.
Things happen when you close your eyes.
You ready,
Well,
Nick?
I
The-
sent
the
it in the group chat, so
Yeah, okay, I'm about to look at it.
Okay.
Nope.
that's a big cat. That was hitting up in Northern Illinois over the
Yeah,
weekend.
that's
so.
definitely murder mittens right there.
Oh yeah,
Gosh, those are some big paws.
I'll see if I can put it up on the big screen so everybody can see. This was up in Northern Illinois, hit over the weekend.
Yeah, don't play with the murder mittens.
Yeah. My
Hold on.
first
Hold it up
24
there.
hours there, I think I hiked 26 miles.
So yeah, that was hit
That
up
ain't
in
no
Northern
bobcat.
Illinois.
That is
Oh,
not-
that's
definitely not a
That's a
bobcat.
cougar. So
Hey, what you call me?
The truth comes out.
but yeah, that was a big one. So one of the biggest I've seen. So
Hit by a
Illinois.
car?
Yeah, on I-88 up there.
Oh, I got hit by a
That's
car.
kinda
Oh yeah, I want to know how bad the damage was on the car.
That's kind of odd. Usually they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah. Usually they get out of the way of a car. It might have been chasing a deer. Who knows?
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got stung by a bee too. That was a first for me as well.
And
Good thing you're
Sharonda,
not,
why were you scared out there camping? You had the game warden out there by you.
No, we didn't.
Oh, that wasn't the game warden that had your arm around you?
That was from a totally different. That was a duck hunt
Oh,
from
that
last
was a-
season
Oh,
on my
okay.
social media. Yeah, no, we this was
Uh-huh.
not like some
Uh-huh.
controlled outfitted event. There were 8 women. We decided we were just gonna go do it, and we did it solo. Like we
Oh, there you go.
didn't have help. We did it.
Good.
Yeah, there was no
Brenda?
game warden we were at. There was a fighting couple on campus. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, that whole
Anderson.
time I was like, oh gosh, please don't let me be the one to die in this scene of the movie. Yeah, it was. It was horrible.
Really?
So Nick and Ray, what you been up to other than looking at auctions?
Got a video posted on the channel over the weekend.
Nice.
Views have actually been pretty good on them. Pretty surprised. Other than that, ordered some new bullets for a part 3 of that video series.
Nice.
Hopefully I got 2 different ones coming, so we'll see those when they get here. Other than that, that's about it for
Selling
me.
guns.
Yeah, selling guns, all that good fun stuff.
Looking at buying more guns.
That too.
Yep.
So other than that, that's really about it. Really,
Yeah.
probably gonna go
Jim?
shooting this weekend.
Nice. Jim,
Not
what you been
much.
up to?
Not much. I just found this DVD that I didn't even know I had from 2013. Long range competition from Brian Litz.
There you go.
It's 2013 Southwest Long Range Nationals.
Nice.
That's about it.
All right. So here's the other question. So give credit where credit is due. This originally came from We Like Shooting. They've got a game that they're playing right now where they get each person has to answer a question with a different answer. And then in the second round, they have to try and tear down the other person's answers to try and prove why theirs is best. But it gave me a thought. So the question is, you only get one rifle powder to use. That's it. We're not talking about shot shell. We're not talking about pistol. We're talking about only for rifle. You have to choose one and only one powder. What are you choosing? Now, to be fair, listeners, I did post this in our private chat earlier on that we use for the show. So everybody got some time to think about it. So they're not trying to come up with something off the top of their head like we like shooting at too. So, Paul, what'd you decide?
H4895.
Okay.
It works in everything but the real smallest stuff to almost to my bigger stuff. So it's about the best I can do. Everything in the middle it covers. So but boy, my 7s and 300s are hurting.
All right. Travis, did you give it some thought?
A little bit. I changed my answer. I'll probably just go with like Varget, just because it's so versatile.
Okay. Jim?
I'll go with military surplus powder if I can.
Any specific
W-
one?
WC 844.
Okay. Jason?
Where did you post this?
In the Facebook chat, so you probably didn't see it
Oh,
because you never go in there.
okay.
Even though you've been invited with both your old and your new.
Sorry. If you want to communicate with me, call me. That's the best way.
Yeah, I know.
H4350 because that's what I like for my 30-06, and Jake likes for his 270.
You mean the one that you put your 270 round through?
Shut up, Jim. Shut
Ray?
I'm going to be different. For cast loads, I'll go with the 2400.
Okay. Nick?
If I'm going to go IMR 3031, I can do quite a bit of the cartridges I load for. You can do about almost anything I load for 3031.
Ditto. Sharenda?
I hadn't really put much thought into it. I'm having a hard time committing. There's a couple I like.
What do you use for loading your 243?
Good question. I haven't loaded any in a while.
You really don't load much currently, so I figured you wouldn't have to put much thought into it.
Well, I haven't had to load any 243 since before COVID. I loaded that many of them.
Right.
What was I using? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to check my notes.
All right. That's why it's important to take notes.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same as Nick. I'm R3031 because I can load pretty much everything I'm shooting with it. From 223, 556 to 308, 30-06, 3030, and various others that I may come across. Paul Loud is chiding Jim for bringing up the 270 incident again, which I salute Jim, because anytime Jason's on, we must give him crap, and that's a good thing to give him crap about. Paul Loud says H50 BMG is the best. It's always available. Where? So, I don't know. Although, so Paul, Paul Loud, So if we're going to use H50 BMG, we just pour it to the top of the case and then stuff the bullet in always, right? That's the load data for that one?
Yeah,
Not
it
really.
works on everything, might as well.
That's right. You can do anything once.
That's right. And unless he's starting to get into the, into the big 300s, 33, 378, I don't see it would be a problem. Just stuff the case full, and try to seat a bullet on top of it.
For those of you who are paying attention and to the audio podcast, we are not being serious. It's not a good idea whatsoever with that powder. So always use proper load data, as Jim says in the warning on the Bing. So 48, H4895, H4350, or a couple ones. Nick and I agreed on IMR 3031. And usually it's pretty available because a lot of people, because it is an older powder, it's actually an original DuPont powder. Some people kind of tend to shush it off to the side.
That's like a lot of people sit down and say, H, 4350 is fine, but IMR isn't, or IMR 4831. Nope. I want H.
Well, that's because they don't want to do the rework up. Sean was actually talking, Heron was talking about that. He had been getting H4350 and then he couldn't. So he got IMR and then he got the AA 4350. And he said, yeah, the data's different, but if you do your load workups, you get pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's the thing is a lot of the people that want the H4350 just don't want to do the load workup because the IMR and the H are not exactly the same. It just coincidentally works that they're numbered the same, but they're, not really. They're in the ballpark on the burn rate chart. So that kind of gives you an advantage of trying to find something that's close. So
is 3031 the powder that gave the M16 issues years ago?
No.
I thought I was curious. Which one was that?
The was 3.5, and but it had when they reformulated it, it's fine, but before they reformulated it, it had too much not a
calcium carbonate.
Right, potassium carbonate, right.
Okay.
And the original load for the 223 was 5744, and they never had a problem with it.
All right.
Here's one that you don't want to try, but it's a cute idea. From Knox Spector talking about 50 BMG powder. Just put it in a coffee grinder. If you want a faster burn rate, you got
it. Yeah, 1 or 2 pulses, it works okay. But when you go longer than the 2 pulses, then you got a problem.
Well, you also got to be careful so you don't, overwork the grinder and then burn it up.
Yeah.
Because if you get that thing too hot, when you're chopping that powder will burn. And then you're out of coffee grinder. And what are you going to do? Like Sharenda did out in the woods, eat the whole beans? No.
Well,
got to have bean water.
Yeah.
And running with scissors with a late entry for H335. So, on purpose.
H335 used to be a really good 458 Winchester Magnum, powder.
Yep.
It was really good in that. Winchester loaded it with 748 in their factory load. So.
Oh, okay.
And Hodgdon, if you worked a good 510 grain bullet in that, you could use H322, which everybody else thinks is way too fast, but for a straight bore, it works.
So, Paul, here's a question. Shot shell.
Okay.
What powder are you going to use?
There's only one right answer, and that's unique.
You got it, Travis.
You gotta have unique on your shelf. It's good for pistol, shotgun.
Some reduced rifle loads.
It's a little
If I had
dirty, but
if I had to pick one shotgun powder to go across all the gauges that I had to shoot, it
Yep.
would be 800X. 800X.
Oh, yeah.
I would agree with you on that one. Other stuff comes close, and you can get kind of some flexibility. Unique will work, but first off, it's filthy. And so if you plan on shooting 100 bird day, you're going to have to clean your dang gun. And it's just not, I don't know. It's just not as flexible. Now, granted, I don't have any 800. I've got some 700, but if I had to go with what I've got on hand, I'd probably go with Clay's. Just because I got an 8-pound jug up there.
Red dot's pretty versatile.
Yes, it is.
It is until you get to the heavier hunting loads
Right,
and,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
smaller gauges, where I can make 800X work in a 3-inch 410, and I can take it back to a 3.5-inch 12 gauge. Okay, so I got a lot of room to work in there.
Who needs a 3.5-inch 12 gauge?
Well, I don't know.
I haven't figured that out. Especially considering I've talked to a couple of kids. These kids came in and they were looking for a new 3.5. They wanted a semi-auto because obviously 3.5 pounds of snot out of you in a pump. And then they were telling me about a hunting story that they went out with their dad and one of their uncles. It was like great uncle, actually. So the great uncle comes out with an 870 Wingmaster, which is a 2 3/4 inch shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And hand loads. And as soon as he said he loaded his own, I got a smirk on my face because I knew how this story was going to go. So the kids are there with their 3.5s. The uncle's there with his 50-year-old shotgun with 2 3/4 inch loads. He was the only one that walked home with geese that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a good chuckle about that.
Do you remember when they used to, Ithaca made the 10 gauge semi-auto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
with
was
their
actually made in Japan.
Right. But with their 3.5-inch 10 gauge loads, yeah, that was roadblocker. That was what it was.
Well, I mean, to be fair, their 3.5-inch 10 gauge is a little heavier than your 3.5 inch.
You needed a semi-auto in order to shoot that one, though. But you're throwing an awful lot of lead out there just to try to smack a goose, right?
Yep. Or in this case, steel. That was the more impressive thing, is he was punching steel down that Wingmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fixed choke barrel. That's not a screw and choke barrel, kids. So. But.
Oh,
and by the way, IMR 3031 will work for the Bob too, so I'm good there. But anyway, as far as pistol, I would probably say unique. I think pretty much everybody would. I don't know. Nick and Ray would do, but I know Jim would probably be along with. Travis already said he would be. Jason, pistol powder.
Unique.
Yeah, mainly unique, and Bullseye's coming up close on a lot of other stuff as well, but pretty much unique.
HP
Yeah.
38's a
Yeah,
contender.
HP 38's also there's a contender with a lot of stuff.
So
Yeah, I would say for most things unique, but again, I have probably loaded up with more pounds of Winchester 231
yeah,
than anything else. So, which is HP 38.
yep. Jorgen, I don't have a Bob yet. I want a Bob. I'm gonna get a Bob eventually. I have a bunch of ammo for a Bob, but I don't have a Bob. So I'm obligated to get a Bob. That's the way the rules work. So
Australia says that people have been scalping powder for $1,000 a jug.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
because ADI stopped selling pistol and shotgun powder about 2 years ago. So that's what they're doing. Because, gun laws.
Yeah.
76 high boys with the rest of us with unique.
He's going to put Bullseye as number 2. Boy, I would, I list 231, but it's slower than you need than Bullseye.
Yeah.
But I would like a really a slower powder than unique for some of the big stuff. 2400, Blue Dot.
Yeah, but we're just talking versatility wise.
Yeah.
I know.
Now you're getting into wanting specific ones.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Mike's
the
question
challenge of
was-
this.
That's
That's
why I
my
picked
question.
unique, because I could use unique in everything, pistol and shotgun wise.
Yeah.
Mike's question stipulated one powder.
Yep, that's
One
the
pot-
challenge. Is when
one-
we get limited to one powder, it's hard to choose, especially when you've got such a long history of hand loading, and you've got so many powders you use for each individual cartridge. It's kind of hard to really narrow that down to just
Well,
say
like
one.
Jim said, you could also use unique in some rifle stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you can use it in some subsonic 308 stuff, and I mean it's
Mhm.
pretty versatile powder.
5 grains of unique in a 22-250 case with a piece of filler in it and a 50 grain bullet. There you go.
I've used unique in 270 reduced loads for cast bullet
Right.
There you go.
and 308.
Mm-hmm.
No, this wasn't subsonic. This is full pressure or whatever. But I've
Right.
used it just to reduce loads. 2,000, 1,800 feet per second.
Yeah. So unique goes a long way as far as that goes.
Yep. Versatile powder.
If you were limited to one powder only, then I would say unique without a caveat. But if I'm getting a rifle powder, a pistol powder, and a shotgun powder, then my choices change. And I think most people here would agree to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's definitely depending on the specifications. So
Sure.
but all right. So next week, we're going to air the interview that Sharenda and I did with Chris Hodgson. Originally, I was planning on doing it this week, but Speer had a limited time frame. So since we had the interview with Chris in the can, we just pushed that off a week. So, hi, Craig. So, So yeah, that was a fun interview with Chris. It's nice to catch up with him. So look forward to that. So there'll be a lot of schmack talking, I'm sure, while we're playing that video. So if you want to tune in for that next week, go ahead. Also, Jim, I know we said we were going to start giving stuff away, but we're getting closer to getting caught up. So we will do a live next week, like we were supposed to do a couple weeks ago, and I spaced it. Jim. Okay.
Hey, Jim, every once in a while you got to move. So, like, we don't get too worried about you.
You mean you blind old bats couldn't see me wave?
Well, you didn't wave for like a minute.
You sit there, kind of makes us a little scared.
Yeah.
Looks like a cardboard cutout.
Shut up, Ray. Jason, shut up. While we're at, shut up, Sharonda. You too, Travis, Paul, and Mike. I just shut the whole panel up. No, but anyway, yeah, because trust me, the components I have are occupying a great space in my garage.
Yeah, I know. So, what the heck is that?
Anyway,
noise? Oh,
sounds like an ammo can
candy.
to me.
No, it's Sharonda eating something. She forgot to mute herself. Chewing gum on my line. Did you bring enough for everyone?
Let's see what we can do with that. Show that again, Trent. I dare you. Hershey.
Ooh,
Yeah.
my favorite.
Almonds?
It's my leftover s'more stuff from Roughing It.
There you go. Hey, the room's looking a little more organized there, Sharonda.
Oh, that's because I scooted everything outside the camera.
Outside the viewing area?
Yeah. Don't ask me to tip
Yeah, see, that's why I
anything
sit
down.
like this, so you can't see the mountain of crap behind me. So
yeah, I have to put up all my camping stuff. It's not pretty. It looked like Cabela's blew up in here.
awesome. So, want to talk about Patriot Patch Company? Here is the October patch of the month. So,
The witch
and
just
if you're
flew
a patch
away.
of the month member, you get a patch, you get a vinyl graphic, and Ryan's original drawing. So, and then usually on the back of that is some of the previous patches. So, awesome thing. And if you want to support the show and get the join the Patch of the Month Club, we actually have a Patreon level for that. So we appreciate that greatly. Everybody who does support us through Patreon and through other means, thank you very much. So Jorgen said, Jim, Daniel's defending you. He says Jim's on the East Coast, 1 hour ahead of you Westies. It's getting late. And then Jorgen said, and he's got a belly full from the early bird special. Tough to keep his eyes open. So that was funny. So yeah, head over to patriotpatch.co. Check them out. Once again, there's that patch. I just kind of absentmindedly, accidentally checked off. Primary Arms, 10% off site-wide with code SAVE10. So make sure you swing over and check them out. And I don't have that email up. Where'd it go? I give up. I was looking to see if I had what the FRN coupon code's good for this month, and I do not see it. So, but Make sure you swing over, check out Primary Arms. They got all sorts of good stuff there. Everything from shoes to guns to suppressors to lights and lasers to belts and holsters. So swing over, check them out. How the heck did it wind up back up on me? Stop that. So, anybody got any shout outs? Obviously, I want to shout out to Garrett from Speer from coming on. Thank you very much for that, and for everybody at Speer who made that happen.
I know what I forgot to tell you. I picked up the Bergara. I haven't even
Oh,
opened
you
the
get the
box
Bergara,
yet.
huh? You got your fancy rifle.
It's a
When
fine
you gonna go
rifle.
shoot it?
Good question. I might sell it. You want to buy it?
$20.
Times
Plus shipping.
40.
Oh, you paid 40 for the raffle ticket? Okay, I'll give you 100.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's just fun to watch Travis crack up. Anyway, anybody else got any shout outs?
Bear Swamp Guns. Thanks, Mr. Lee. Appreciate you being so considerate. And it turns out it'd be cool with my North Carolina CCW permit. I didn't have to go through Nick's check or anything like that.
Nice.
I'll give a
always-
shout out to my. Sorry.
Go.
Go ahead. I was just gonna give a shout out to my kid and his friend watching right now.
Oh,
Hi, kid.
no wonder Travis is behaving today.
Hey, Travis, when you get those molds ready, let us know.
Will do.
Sharenda, you got any shout outs other than to her?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Artemis Sportswoman. They're the ones that put the wild hair up our butts to go camping and whitetail hunting during archery season. So huge shout out to those ladies. We had a great crowd out there of 8.
Just remember, a bad day of hunting is far, far, far better than the best day at work.
Oh man, but it wasn't a bad weekend. So
No, the weather was nice too.
Yeah.
All right, gang. On that note, keep your breath shiny.
Keep your powder dry.
Jump on the Millsap short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Better late than never.
Teach a lady to reload and then let her pinch off your stash a little bit.
Despite what your mama told you, violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment. Do what's right. 2A all the way.
And if you're struggling, remember, reach out 988 or 1-800-273-8255. Trained professionals. They're there to help. They're here to help get you guided to the places you need to get to be able to get more help or the right help, whatever the case may be. So hang in there. We want you here. We need you here. And on that note, good night.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Good night.